going on, you guys? It is your boy Matt Talk Sports, and I am back with another video. And I am back recapping the Week 8 NFL slate. And to be completely honest with you guys, this was probably the most uneventful NFL slate so far this year. It was mostly blowouts, and we'll get into them. If you made it this far in the video, leave a like, comment, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. Follow me everywhere at Matt Talk Sports, Instagram, TikTok. You'll find me at the same handle, Matt Talk Sports. Now let's get into it. I'm going to talk about my favorite team first and a win I desperately needed. And not only that I needed, but the franchise needed. The Buffalo Bills head into Carolina and beat the Carolina Panthers 40-9. It was a complete domination. It was somewhat close for a little while, but ultimately the Bills pulled away, especially in the second half. What's really to talk about here is one, James Cook absolutely deserves to be in the very best convo among the best running backs. And I've been saying that for a while, but today he really showed it. And some people would be like, oh, he was facing Carolina. It doesn't matter how many yards he ran for. Before today, the Carolina's defense, especially run defense, is one of the best run defenses in the NFL. So not only how our offensive line manhandled their interior D-line, but how James Cook ran all over them was really, really insane. So James Cook finished today with 19 carries for 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 11 yards per carry. He was absolutely dominant. He had a 64-yard rushing touchdown, longest of his career, or at least tied it. What a game from James Cook. He was absolutely unreal. I love the run plays in this game. I was actually obsessed. The tosses, just the uniqueness of the Bills' run game today was special to watch. Listen, some people are saying Josh Allen played bad and he hasn't looked like himself all year. Those people are pissing me off quite a bit. Listen, Josh Allen was good today. We didn't need him today. We legitimately did not need him. I mean, James Cook was dominating this Carolina defense for 11 yards per carry. It wasn't even close. So we didn't need Josh Allen today, but he ended up finishing today 12 of 19, 163 yards, 8 yards per pass, and then a touchdown. He took 2 sacks. One of them was kind of his fault, but he was trying to make a play out of nothing and try to find someone that was open. But he scrambled for like 8 to 10 seconds, and no one can still get open. So this receiving core is a problem for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills going forward, except for Khalil Shakir, because he had a 54-yard touchdown today all on his own. He had 6 catches for 88 yards. He was great today. He was great, but everyone else, I mean, Keon Coleman had 2 catches when Josh Allen was out of the game. They put Keon Coleman at punt returner today. That shows you they don't believe in this guy, and they're struggling to put him on the field and where he can fit. So I think the Bills are going to trade for someone because they are starting to notice this receiving core is not great. Kincaid had his first game back today. He had a catch in 23 yards. But really, outside of Shakir, everyone else was ineffective in this receiving game because, one, they couldn't get open, and 2, because we really didn't need them today. But outside of James Cook playing great and Shakir playing great and Josh Allen being a great game manager today, the real story here was the Buffalo Bills defense. Our interior D line looked absolutely insane. We were collapsing this pocket so quickly and so efficiently. It honestly blew me away. The sad thing about that is Ed Oliver probably out for a couple months. Apparently, from what I've seen on Twitter, not everyone on Twitter is a doctor. Not everyone can give a great diagnosis through a TV screen, but that's the word on the street. And that sucks because as soon as he started playing today, he had a sack. So I would hope that he's not out for the year because he's been great. But honestly, Michael Hoyt and AJ Epineza, Joey Bosa, Groot were great today. Michael Hoyt, first game I've seen him as a Buffalo Bill, absolutely dominated the trenches, dominated that Carolina O-line, shut down any attempts to make a comfortable pocket for Andy Dalton. I was really impressed with this defense today, and it was exactly what we needed coming off the bye. We needed to see something from the offense, a sort of dominance, and we need to see some dominance from the defense, and the defense gave us that. I mean, we sacked Andy Dalton 7 times today. That's pretty unreal. Jordan Phillips had a sack. Deanna Walker continues to be the most impressive rookie on our defense right now. Michael Hoyt had a sack and a half. Joey Bosa had a sack. He should have had 2. Ed Oliver had a sack. Ray Russo had a sack and a forced fumble. AJ Epineza had a sack and a pick that was almost a touchdown. Should have been a touchdown. What a game, man, from this defense. I was happy. And what I saw from Maxwell Harrison today, I loved. And it looks like we're going to need him and we're going to love using him because he can tackle and he is fast as shit. So I can't wait to see what he does next week. I'm assuming he's going to be on man coverage or covering Xavier Worthy quite a bit next week because we're gonna need him next week. But listen, we beat the Panthers, not a big deal. But at the end of the day, the Panthers had a great run defense. And the Panthers had a great run offense, and they couldn't do any of those efficiently enough to win the game. I mean, Dowdle had 8 carries, 54 yards, 6.8 yards a carry. In all reality, Rico Dowdle should be the starting running back on this team. Chuba Hubbard continues to be unimpressive since his return from injury. He had 12 carries for 34 yards, 2.8 yards a carry, and a touchdown. So Dowdle should be running back number one on that team. But McMillan was great for them. But honestly, he had 7 catches, 99 yards on 10 targets, and what he did mostly was done when the game was lost. So, Bills impressed. They stressed the fuck out of Andy Dalton today. They forced 2 fumbles, made him lose two, and he threw a pick. So he had 3 turnovers today. Andy Dalton was horrible today, but it was because of how good the Bills defense played. So, despite the Bills defense not being a great one and honestly being a mediocre one, they have been making these subtle improvements over the past 3 or 4 weeks. And I feel like it all accumulated in this game with this performance. I know it's the Carolina Panthers, and I know they didn't have their starting quarterback, but I think the same result would have happened and the same score would have happened if Bryce Young was at quarterback, in my opinion. So the Bills won 40-9. We are on to Kansas City in Buffalo. And a quick look ahead. I'm gonna whisper this. What if the Bills lose this game in the regular season? It wouldn't be the end of the world to me because honestly, we go through the same cycle as Bills fans where we beat the Chiefs in the regular season and we're like, oh my God, we're going to beat them in the playoffs this time. And we don't. So what if we lose to the Chiefs this time in the regular season and we beat them in the playoffs? I'm not a superstitious or conspiratorial guy, but maybe that's what happens. We lose to the Chiefs in the regular season, and we finally beat them in the playoffs to get the Super Bowl. That would be awesome. But obviously, I still want to win. I want to win that game no matter what. So Bills are on to KC, and that was a much needed result. And that was a much needed dominant win by the Buffalo Bills after a bye. Josh Allen continues to be undefeated after bye. He continues to never have lost 3 games in a row. And Sean McDermott continues to be undefeated after bye as a head coach. So the Bills won 40-9, and it was a much needed win. And my week is made because we got that win that way. Moving on. It really was not an eventful Sunday after that for me. It was blowout after blowout after blowout. I was hoping for the Sunday night football game to be good. It was good for a little bit for the first half, and then it was just bad. So the only good game today really was Jets versus Bengals. The Jets beat the Bengals in Cincinnati 39-38 in a hell of a game. I'm not listen, the Jets are in the AFC East, so I'm not eagerly happy for them. But I will say this: I'm happy for Aaron Glenn because every time I've come on this podcast, I've been saying Aaron Glenn might be one and done. This was a much needed win for him. Garrett Wilson is down. Justin Fields gets to start after Tyrod Taylor says he can't play. So it's Brees Hall and Fields, and they got the job done here today. That Cincinnati Bengals is that defense is horrible. The Jets scored 26 points in the second half, and they outscored the Bengals 26-14 in the second half to win the game. What a performance by the Jets in the second half. And it wasn't like Joe Flacco had turnovers today. It really was just the Jets defense got stops, they got clutch sacks, and that's what won them the game. And honestly, Chase had 12 receptions for 91 yards. Higgins had 1 catch for 44 yards and a touchdown. That's shocking to me. He had 1 catch. And really, what was going for the Bengals in this game was the run. They had a touchdown, a QB sneak by Joe Flacco on the 1 yard line. They had Chase Brown, 12 for 73, 1 touchdown. And then they had Samaje Perine, 9 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown. And then Chase Brown had a touchdown receiving as well. So it's like the run game was dominant for the Bengals. So it was weird watching this Bengals team, especially in the era they're in with Joe Flacco starting since Joe Burrow can't play, just be so dominant in the run compared to what they were in the past. Joe Flacco wasn't bad today. This game wasn't lost on him. He took 1 sack, and that was the biggest moment of the game for the Jets. You kind of knew the Jets were going to win that game when they got that sack. Joe Flacco, 21 for 34, 223 yards passing, and 2 touchdowns. He did what he needed to do. It's just the Bengals defense did not hold up. Justin Fields, probably the best game of the year for you outside of the Steelers game. 21 for 32, 244 yards passing, and 1 touchdown. After Woody Johnson came out in the media and said, hey, buddy, every team would be like this if they had this guy at their quarterback. Justin Fields came out of that locker room and practiced this week like he had something to prove, and he proved something. I don't think he's a good quarterback still, but he proved something this week. Brees Hall had the game-winning touchdown pass. I'll repeat that. Brees Hall had the game-winning touchdown pass today to Mason Taylor, the rookie. Brees Hall was down today as well. Brees Hall, 18 carries, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Isaiah Davis had some really good carries today as well. 7 carries, 65 yards, 9.3 yards a carry. Justin Fields 11 for 31, and then Isaiah Williams 1 for 25. So all in all, this Jets team ran 37 times and ran for 2 touchdowns and ran for 254 yards. Tyler Johnson had a key touchdown, and Mason Taylor had a key touchdown at the end to win the game. So ultimately, the key to this game was we are happy Aaron Glenn got his first win. Good for you. Good for you. I hope you can somehow build something respectable in New York because it would make the AFC East interesting. Although I do want the AFC East just to be the Bills. I'm already upset enough about the Patriots having their guy at quarterback. So I don't want the Jets to end up having their guy at quarterback. But still, I still want to see Aaron Glenn succeed for some reason. But all in all, the Jets get a win. They're no longer winless. The Bengals are stuck in a hard place here. They have an offense that is explosive enough, and they have a quarterback who is just good enough in this stage of his career to get some wins that you probably don't deserve. And then their defense is so bad, it's going to cost them games they should have won. Like, if you score 38 points on offense, you should win the game, but not with this defense. So the Jets win 39-38 to not be winless anymore, and that was the best game of the day. Every game after this was pretty goddamn underwhelming, and it's going to be hard to talk about. We'll go with the third closest game here. Ravens get a win with Snoop Huntley at quarterback. Ravens win 30-16 against the Chicago Bears. Bears fall to 4-3. Ravens move to 2-5, and without Lamar, the Ravens are going to be happy about this fucking win because you assume you get Lamar on Thursday night and you're playing the Dolphins, you should get that win with fucking Lamar. So Snoop Huntley, 17-22, 186 yards passing and a touchdown. He did his job today. Derrick Henry, 21 for 71, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Huntley, 8 carries, 53 yards. Keaton Mitchell, who was a big addition, and I'm surprised he hasn't been playing more. 4 carries for 43 yards. Zay Flowers, 7 for 63. Rashad Bateman, 2 for 51. Mark Andrews, 3 for 34. DeAndre Hopkins, who had a clutch catch to pretty much end the game, 1 for 14. And Charlie Kohler had the touchdown today, receiving. So really, the offense did enough to win this game, and the Ravens' defense really stopped the Chicago Bears' offense, coached by a brilliant OC, who's now head coach, Ben Johnson. Really, the story here, I guess, today is Caleb Williams has really been underwhelming these past 3 weeks or so. Caleb Williams for the year, not bad stats. He's 21st in passing yards, 18th in passing touchdowns, and he only has 4 picks this year. But he's really been underwhelming these past couple of games, especially when you're just watching with your eyes. He only has 1 touchdown in the past 3 games, and he only has 2 touchdowns in the past 4 games with 3 picks. So he has 2 touchdowns, 3 picks in his past 4 games. So it's really been alarming. He hasn't been good since the Dallas game. I don't know what's going on there in Chicago. I know Chicago Bear fans are probably overthinking this and being like, he's not the guy. I don't blame that train of thought because Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback from that class, and so is Drake May by a margin. So I'm not ready to put Bo Nix above Caleb Williams either, but Bo Nix has been the better quarterback if we're just being objective here. So Caleb Williams, if you're a Bears fan or just an NFL fan, we're not pressing a panic or bust button, but we're about like 5 feet above it. You know, we're like wavering over it and like hovering over it like a fucking helicopter. The run game that was so prominent last week for the Bears couldn't do anything today, really. All in all, 23 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown. It was by DeAndre Swift. Rome Odunze, 7 catches for 114 yards. DJ Moore, 4 for 73. Colson Love, 3 for 38. And Olamide Zaccheaus, 7 for 33. Really, the defense missed their corners. I know they had like top 3 corners out for the Bears, so really, but that's not why they lost that game, in my opinion. I know the Ravens put up 30, but you got to imagine the Bears were able to put up 25 plus heading into this week. So really, the Bears' offense was lackluster. Defense due to injury let Tyler Huntley do what he needed to do to win, and the Ravens' defense was surprising today. Nate Wiggins had a huge pick. Pretty bad throw by Caleb, in my opinion, but Nate Wiggins had a huge pick. But Bears disappoint. Ravens win without Lamar to get some momentum heading into Thursday night where Lamar returns. So Ravens, are they going to do it? Are they back? They're now 2-5 instead of 1-6. So Bears fall to 4-3. Ravens move to 2-5, and they head into Miami on Thursday night. Should be an interesting one because the Miami Dolphins just beat the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins at the quarterback, 34-10. It was a blowout. Tua had his best game of the year after taking some serious heat in the presses for talking all that shit, but you play like shit on the field. He had a great game with impaired vision with his left eye. Tua Tagovailoa, 20 for 26, 205 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. A-Chain was dominant as usual, man. A-Chain is so underrated. 18 for 67 rushing. Ollie Gordon had some good carries today, too. 10 for 46. Jalen Wright as well, 9 for 28. Jalen Waddle had a really great touchdown today. He looked so fast, man. I love that dude. 5 for 99 in a touchdown. Malik Washington, 4 for 36 in a touchdown. Devon A-Chain, 5 for 24 in a touchdown. And Ollie Gordon, 1 for 20 in a touchdown. Tua Tagovailoa was great today. Now, when it comes to the Falcons, Drake London was out. Michael Penix was out. So, there's that. Like that's going to hinder you. But Kirk Cousins, you think he's good enough. He's good enough backup to come in here and do something relatively worth the merit. You know what I mean? He had 21 passes for 31 attempts, 173 yards. Just couldn't get it done. And then Bijan Robinson, shocking. 9 carries for 25 yards, 0 touchdowns, and he had a fumble. That was huge in this game. Kyle Pitts, 9 for 59. Kadero Hodge was the next highest receiver on this team, 3 for 31. And then after that, it's downhill. Darnell Mooney only had 1 catch. So the Dolphins defense did what the Bills defense couldn't in Atlanta. They shut down Bijan Robinson. But I do feel like the Bills defense would have done the same thing if Kirk Cousins was quarterback and if Drake London wasn't playing. So what a win by the Dolphins. What a game by Tua. Shout out to Tua, man. He's been taking a lot of shit, but at the end of the day, 4 touchdowns today, 206 yards passing. You did your thing today. He has 15 touchdowns and 10 interceptions on the year. So he's not having a great year still, but a huge game by him. No interceptions. So good for you, bro. Really, really big game. And the Falcons are just the Falcons at this point. Just monumental disappointment after 2 weeks ago. You're sitting at the top after beating the Buffalo Bills. But today, you're sitting at the bottom. Your defense was fully healthy, bro. Your defense was fully healthy, and you let up 34 points at the end of the day. So the Dolphins moved to 2-6. Atlanta falls to 3-4. Lost 2 in a row now after the Bills. Moving on, the Houston Texans, after one of the worst and most complicated games I've ever watched in my life, previous Monday night against the Seahawks, win against San Francisco 49ers in Houston. Houston wins this game 26-15. They move to 3-4. San Francisco moves to 5-3. And the story of this team and of this game is how great this defense is for the Texans, man. They are insane, dude. They shut down the 49ers for pretty much the entirety of this first half. It was really a no-show for the 49ers in the first half. The 49ers were shut down 20-7 in the first half. And the Texans only allowed 8 points in the second half to the 49ers. And there's this little saying that comes in the NFL, just any sport. No one's as good as they were last week, and no one's as bad as they were last week. And the defense last week was so good, considering how banged up they were for the 49ers. They showed up, and they played above their potential. This week, they played way below or to just their potential, considering who they are as players. And the Texans took advantage of that. C.J. Stroud had a day. 30 for 39, 318 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, but he was great today outside of the pick. Woody Marks continues to be explosive for the Texans. 11 carries, 62 yards. Nick Chubb, 17 for 56 yards. C.J. Stroud, 7 carries for 30 yards. Xavier Hutchinson, Jalen Noel, and Jaden Higgins had big days today. Even Braxton Berrios got a little burn today, 5 for 38. So really, the Texans showed up and exceeded expectations on offense, and considering what you saw last week against the Seahawks, now the Seahawks are a way healthier defense and a way, way, way better defense than the 49ers. After watching that Monday night game, you're like, man, maybe the Texans are one of the worst offenses in the NFL outside of the Titans, Raiders, and a couple other teams like the Saints. But really impressive performance by the Texans, both on defense and on offense. That defense continues to impress me. That defense is special, man. That defense, I wish the Buffalo Bills had it. Like, I know our defense has been playing decent, especially today, but I wish the Bills had this defense. This defense is insane. They just shut down everybody on the 49ers. Mac Jones did have 193 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, but McCaffrey, 8 carries for 25 yards, and McCaffrey only had 3 catches for 43. So they literally said, we'll shut down McCaffrey, beat us with everyone else. Jake Tunges and George Kittle were the only players to have a touchdown on the 49ers today. So, yeah. Texans, they moved to 3-4. 49ers fall to 5-3. And I have a feeling this is where the 49ers start to lose their prowess that they had this year. They face the Giants next week. I think the Giants win that game. Then they face the Rams. They face the Cardinals and the Panthers and the Browns and the Titans. So it starts to lighten up a little bit, but I don't think that's a playoff team in my opinion. So we'll see though. Moving on, Giants. What a tragic game this is for the Giants. Giants lose to the Eagles 20-38. Giants fall to 2-6. Eagles move to 6-2. The big story here today is one, the tush push is definitely getting banned in the offseason. There was a clear fumble by Jalen Hurts caused by Kayvon Thibodeau, and they didn't say it was a fumble. They said his progress was stopped. It wasn't, in my opinion. It was clearly a strip fumble, and they didn't call it, and it was bullshit. True tragedy of today was Cam Scadaboo having such a great rookie year, being a fantasy legend, dislocated his ankle, and he had surgery tonight to probably miss the rest of the season. That sucks. Such a fun player to watch. Such a great player to watch. Such a great rookie season he's been having. He's been dominant and such a fan favorite for this Giants team. So it sucks to him have a gruesome injury like that. And he was great to have on my fantasy team. He was unbelievable on my fantasy team so far this year, and I'm upset that I have to win the fantasy championship without him. But anyway, Jackson Dart had a good day. I mean, 14 to 24, 193 yards passing and a touchdown, 6 carries, 17 yards, and a touchdown rushing. He did what he needed to do today. Now, this Giants defense has no Cam Scottaboo for the rest of the year, and they lost Malik Neighbors earlier in the year. So now they're relying on guys like Wandale Robinson, Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary, Darius Slayton, Daniel Bellinger, Theo Johnson, Bo Collins, and Jalen Hyatt. Those type of players. So it's like, man, they really are getting fucked over here. And Okereke had a sack today. Brian Burns had a sack today. I mean, the Giants did get shit done on defense today. 4 sacks by the Giants today. But ultimately, the Eagles just, they're on fire right now. Jalen Hurts continues to impress. He had a great game last week, had a great game today, efficient, and he got the job done. 15 to 20, 179 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He took 4 sacks, but perfect day by him. Saquon Barkley, 14 carries for 150 yards and a touchdown. Take Bingsby, 9 carries for 104 yards. What I thought was impressive by the Eagles was how they had a rotation at running back and how it worked. People were like, why did the Eagles trade for Tank Bisbee? Today was why. Tank Bisbee had 9 carries for 104 yards, 11 yards per carry. He was great today. And then Saquon Barkley had his best game of the year. He had an incredible game. Devontae Smith without A.J. Brown, 6 receptions, 84 yards, no touchdowns. But Jahan Dotson had a holy Moss moment. 1 catch for 40 yards, and it was a touchdown. Insane Moss moment. It was a beautiful Moss, man. That poor DB got mossed. Dallas Goedert, 3 receptions, 28 yards, and 2 TDs. Like, come on, man. What a performance by Dallas Goedert this year. And then Saquon Barkley also had a receiving touchdown. So, here's the funny thing about Jalen Hurts' game. He was efficient, 15 to 20, 4 touchdowns. He only threw to 5 receivers today. Unreal. Great performance by Jalen Hurts. And the defense on the Eagles did enough. Jordan Davis had a sack. Jalen Carter had a sack. 5 sacks by this Eagles defense. So the Eagles move to 6-2. They are hot. They're keeping momentum ready and going. The Eagles move to 6-2. Their momentum continues to build. The Giants injuries are starting to pile up, especially with their best players. It was first Neighbors, now it's Scattaboo, and it's going to be hard. But you know what? This is a foundation for what Jackson Dart as a player will become. Whether it's great or bad, we will see. Giants fall to 2-6. Moving on. Browns. It was close. It was close for a little bit, especially heading into half. The Patriots were up 9-7 heading into half. And then ultimately the Patriots just pulled away. Patriots moved to 6-2. Browns fall to 2-6. Patriots win 32-13. And really, man, when is Shador Sanders gonna get his burn? Like, this is getting ridiculous. I'm surprised he didn't get any burn tonight. I was really shocked by that. Dylan Gabriel, 21 for 35, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He struggled, man, struggled. The Browns struggled to run the ball as well. 16 carries, 68 yards. They really couldn't get the ball running. The only receiving success they had today was with Fanning Jr. and Njoku. Both of them had touchdowns. One was garbage time, one was to start the game. But really, this Browns offense is bad, and it's mainly because of how green Dylan Gabriel is and how much of a backup he is, and he's playing starter reps. So I want to see Shador Sanders, but I think Stefanski's sticking with Dylan Gabriel, which sucks if you're a Browns fan. It sucks for content. So the Patriots, 18 to 24, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Drake May continues to throw the prettiest deep ball in the NFL. I'm really jealous of that. Travion Henderson, 10 carries, 75 yards, his best day as a pro. Drake May, 7 for 50, Ramondre Stevenson, 14 for 34. Matt Collins led receiving, 7 for 89. He had big catches. Kayshon Boutte continues to be Drake May's favorite target, 3 for 75, 1 touchdown. And Diggs finally got on the board today with a touchdown. 3 for 14, 1 touchdown. Hunter Henry also got on the board today for National Tight End Day. So really, the Patriots are just a way better team than the Browns. It's really simple as that. They had their way with the Browns, even though it was close at the end of the first half. They pulled away and blew them out. So the Patriots win 32-13. Patriots remain at the top of the AFC East. I don't think it's going to be for much longer. I think the Bills will end up winning that division. So the Patriots move to 6-2. Browns fall to 2-6. Moving on. And then we get to the 4 o'clock slate. The 4 o'clock slate sucked today. I was really hoping Broncos versus Cowboys was going to be a good game. It wasn't. Buccaneers beat the Saints 23-3, and the Saints are officially what we thought they were going to be, one of the very, very, very worst teams in the NFL. That team is horrible. And you know what's crazy? The Bucs stunk on offense today. They only had one touchdown. It was by Sean Tucker today. And the only other touchdown they scored today was a pick six by Anthony Nelson, the 6'7" defensive end. Because Spencer Rattler couldn't throw the ball over him. Really, the Bucs were not impressive today, and honestly, I think Baker Mayfield's kind of played himself out of the MVP race. Despite him not really having a bad day, he was 15 to 24, 150 yards passing, but the offense was not the reason why they won this game. Their defense was the reason why they won this game, and the atrocities committed on offense by the Saints is the reason why the Bucs won this game. I mean, they really did nothing today, the Bucs. Sean Tucker was their leading rusher, 12 for 42, 1 touchdown. Rashad White, 13 for 35. Josh Williams, 4 for 11. Tez Johnson, 5 for 43. K. Dotton, 4 for 40. Emeka Ibuka, 3 for 35. Rashad White, 2 for 26. And yeah, it was a turnover fest for this Bucs defense. They kept on turning over the ball, and they kept on forcing problems with whoever was at quarterback. They were just violating poor Tyler Shaw and Spencer Rattler. Antoine Winfield had a forced fumble today and a pick, and then Anthony Nelson, of course, had the pick six. So the Saints were a mess today. They really were. Alvin Kamara continues to struggle. Tyler Shaw came in 17 for 30, had a pick. He was arguably worse than Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler 15 for 21, one pick, one fumble, I believe. It was just bad, bad, bad ball by the Saints today. Rashid Shaheed 9 for 75. He also had like a fumble. He should have had two. They should have counted the other one. They didn't. Chris Olave 8 for 63. Between those two, one of them is leaving this team. They just have to. One of these two are leaving the team. I hope it's Olave to the Buffalo Bills. The Saints defense did what they could today. They tried, but ultimately this offense is just too bad. And the Saints fall to 1-7, and they are officially not a frisky and gritty team anymore. They are just pretty much the bottom of the barrel in the NFL. So the Saints moved to 1-7, and the Bucs moved to 6-2, unimpressively so. Moving on, the Colts, the hottest team in the NFL. They moved to 7-1. The Titans fall to 1-7. The Colts win 38-14. Jonathan Taylor, another 3 touchdown game. He now has 3 consecutive games against the Titans where he scored 3 touchdowns. Unbelievable. Cam Ward continues to turn over the ball. Not a great day from Cam Ward. 22 for 38, 259 yards passing, a touchdown and a pick. Tajay Spears might be RB1 on this team. He was explosive every time he got the ball. 9 for 59, a touchdown. Tony Pollard, 11 carries for 44 yards. DK continues to be a really explosive guy on special teams and receiving. He's a really fast guy. 7 for 93. Chikakonwu, 4 for 53. Alika Maynor, 4 for 52. And Gunnar Helm had a touchdown. He had his first touchdown of his pro career. The Titans continue to be depressing and tragic. Poor Cam Ward, really. I just feel bad for Cam Ward. Cam Ward turning over the ball, and I really can't blame him. He's in the worst situation in the NFL, arguably, in my opinion. So, Titans fans, it's going to be horrible until it gets better. Hopefully, it gets better for you guys. Danny Jones, 21 for 29, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, 12 for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. Michael Pittman had a touchdown today. Alex Pierce, 2 for 69. Josh Downs had a touchdown today, and Jonathan Taylor had a receiving touchdown. And really, someone tried to tell me Danny Jones should be the MVP frontrunner. Not when you have Jonathan Taylor on your team, who's been by far the best running back this year and the most consistent, and not when you're not definitively the best player on your team. And some people are going to be like, hey, how do you consider Josh Allen to still be in the MVP race? Because yes, he's definitively still the best player on the Bills. He has one of the best wins of the year, if not the best, against the healthy Ravens in Game 1 in primetime, 15-point comeback in primetime. And also, James Cook has been our most consistent and efficient player on the offense. He's so great, but Josh Allen, is definitively the best player on our offense, and he shows it when it matters, and he's going to show it again this Sunday against the Chiefs. So ultimately, I just put the chances of Daniel Jones winning an MVP this year at 0%. He's winning comeback player of the year, absolutely, but 0% chance he wins MVP because he has Jonathan Taylor on his team, and Daniel Jones is not the best player on his team by a long margin. So moving on, I thought this game was gonna be great, man. I thought this game was gonna be fucking great, and it wasn't. Broncos blow out the Cowboys 44-24. Broncos moved to 6-2. Cowboys fall to 3-4-1. And really, the first drive was when you knew this game was going the Cowboys' way when they settled for a field goal, a 24-yard field goal from Brandon Aubrey. After that, you just knew it was over with. Dak Prescott, 188 yards passing, 19 for 31, and 2 picks. Didn't throw a touchdown today. Quite shocking. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb still had their day. George Pickens kind of got a lot more yards in garbage time, but both of them had 7 receptions. Both of them had 70-plus yards. Javonte Williams in his revenge game, quote unquote, 13 carries for 41 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that's the story of the day. Joe Milton was the only guy to have a passing touchdown today on the Cowboys. Bo Nix, after the first drive of the game, he threw a pick, a really bad one. After that, he was nearly flawless. This guy might have to play a bad game before he plays a great game. That's seemingly what every game feels like. He has a bad couple drives and then he plays flawless football. So Bo Nix continues to impress after a struggle. Whether that says a lot about him or not, he is seemingly a player that forgets about the previous play quickly, especially if it's a bad one. So Bo Nix, 19 for 29, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Uh, J.K. Dobbins, 15 for 111 yards, 7.4 yards a carry. Dominant running the game. And then R.J. Harvey, 7 for 46, 2 touchdowns. They got a good dual head of running backs here. R.J. Harvey looks explosive and fast. He's a great receiving back. And then J.K. Dobbins, in between the tackles, hard yards. He's going to get them for you. Troy Franklin continues to be hot for Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. 6 for 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cortland Sutton, 4 for 67. Pat Bryant, a touchdown. R.J. Harvey also had a receiving touchdown. So the Broncos defense was great enough to shut down Dak today. Forced 2 picks, had 2 sacks, and they hit the quarterback quite a bit today, 8 times. So really, the better offense won today and the better defense won today in this game. The battle of the trenches was won today by the Broncos quite easily. Bo Nix didn't take a sack at all today. Barely felt any pressure. So the Broncos blow out the Cowboys 44-24. This is who the Cowboys are. Their offense is great enough to be in games that they shouldn't be in. However, their defense is so bad, they're going to lose a lot of games this year and not make the playoffs. So moving on to the final game of the day, and this was my lock. And it seemed like a lock all the way until the second half. Packers might have had an impressive win for the first time since week 1 and 2. Packers won 35-25. They moved to 5-1-1. Steelers fall to 4-3. They've now lost 2 in a row. Heading into half, it was 16-7 Pittsburgh. And then it was just downhill from there. The Steelers only scored a field goal and a touchdown, and the touchdown was with 2 minutes left to Roman Wilson. So that's really the only bright side for the Steelers. Your defense is so bad, it's honestly uncharacteristic. Like, I've had a lot of qualms with Mike Tomlin recently, and I think he should have been on the hot seat, or his seat should be warm, and people have kind of like rubbed that off. They're like, nah, bro, he shouldn't. His seat is warm, in my opinion. He has single-handedly lost the identity of the Steelers that they've had through every regime since he started coaching. Um, they are known for having a good physical defense and a tough defense and a defense that's hard to score on. That is not the case this year. They have the highest paid defense in the NFL, and they are a bottom 5 defense in the NFL. I mean, abysmal. They let up 360 yards passing to Jordan Love today and 3 touchdowns. A lot of that was in the second half. And then Emmanuel Wilson and Josh Jacobs were cooking them. 26 for 94 yards. I mean, Tucker Kraft was bodying them as well. 7 receptions, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. Christian Watson with some huge plays in his first game back. 4 for 85. Romeo Dobbs, 3 for 44. Malik Heath, 3 for 29. Emmanuel Wilson, 3 for 26. Josh Jacobs, 3 for 12. And Savion Williams with the touchdown, 1 for 8. So, really, it was really something watching this game because the Steelers are unrecognizable. Michael Parsons ended up getting a sack as well, and so did Rashawn Gary, and that was all in the second half. Steelers defense is really, really bad, and I think Mike Tomlin's seat is getting warm. How many more of these 9-8 seasons are you able to have without moving on from him. Like, there needs to be a change in the Steelers organization, and maybe they're too late to realize it. Aaron Rodgers, 24 for 36, 219 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 3 sacks taken. Jalen Warren actually looked pretty good running the ball today alongside Kenneth Gainwell. 18 carries between the two, 93 yards. Roman Wilson is the bright spot for the Steelers. Like, hey, we finally got this rookie involved. Or the second year man, I apologize. We finally got him involved. And he had a huge day. 4 receptions, 74 yards, and a touchdown. DK Metcalf, 5 for 55. But everyone outside of that, non-existent. Pat Freiermuth had a huge week last week. Three catches for 13 yards, non-existent. Jonnu Smith, 2 for 17. Just a bad second half performance by the Steelers, and honestly, quite shocking one, especially how it was done. Really, really not a fan of that second half performance. The Steelers are who we thought they were. I predicted them to go 11-6, and that was purely based on them having one of the best defenses in the league on paper. They paid so many guys. They played a lot of vet savvy guys that I thought would thrive in the Mike Tomlin system in Pittsburgh, and that hasn't come to fruition. Cameron Hayward doesn't look like himself. TJ Watt doesn't look like himself. And most certainly Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay don't look like themselves. So it's really been disappointment from the Steelers. They had 0 sacks today. 0. You know how wild that is for a Steelers defense? 0. They only hit the quarterback 5 times today. Just not great. Only 1 pass defense today. 1 pass deflection, I mean. So the young guys aren't playing well, and the vet savvy guys aren't playing well, and this doesn't seem like a well-coached defense anymore. And that is a problem, and I think this is what's finally going to make the Steelers organization realize they need to make a change at the head coaching position sooner rather than later. Whether that's after this season or after next year, we'll see. But I think a change at the head coach is coming sooner rather than later in Pittsburgh. So the Pittsburgh Steelers fall to 4-3. Green Bay moves to 5-1-1, and they finally impressed me, especially Jordan Love. I kind of expected him to have a dud tonight, and Aaron Rodgers to have a great game. It was the opposite. Aaron Rodgers had a dud in the second half. Jordan Love was perfect in the second half. 29 for 37, 360 yards passing, and 3 touchdowns. Perfection. He was great today. So, listen, the Packers, they're a great team, and they're going to be there until the very end this year. You can feel it, especially with that defensive pass rush, man. Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, scary. Uh, so that is it for Week 8. It was really a non-eventful slate. It was quite a boring one outside of my Buffalo Bills because I really needed that in my life. But outside of that, it was not a good one. It really all started Thursday with the 37-10 blowout. That kind of set the tone for how uneventful this Week 8 slate was going to be. Commanders versus Chiefs is Monday night, and it's without Jaden Daniels. So the line is minus 10.5 Chiefs, and we all know how that's going to go out. Maybe the Commanders cover, but Chiefs are going to win. And they're going to be 5-3, and don't love it. Don't love it. Next week, though, should be fun. We get Ravens versus Dolphins Thursday Night Football, which is a big game for the Ravens because imagine they lose that game with Lamar. But on Sunday, we get Chiefs versus Bills, which is always cinematic masterpiece. Bears versus Bengals, Colts versus Steelers, 49ers versus Giants. There's some really fun games here. And then we get Seahawks Commanders with hopefully Jaden Daniels back Sunday night. Yeah, guys, that was it for Week 8. That was my recap for Week 8. If you made it this far in the video, leave a like, comment, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. And also, follow me everywhere at Matt Talk Sports for more content like this on TikTok and Instagram and your YouTube shorts. If you like film content, you like hearing people talk about movies and film, follow me everywhere at Matt Talks Films, and follow me everywhere at Matt Talks Films on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Subscribe to my channel at Matt Talks Films as well if you are into that kind of thing. And also, cherish these weeks, boys. We're about to head into Week 9. How fast does the NFL season move? It moves quite a bit. You know what makes it move faster? All these NBA games during the week. Because you're not dwindling on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday anymore because you're watching NBA games. So these weeks go by quick, man. So cherish them. I know it was an uneventful week, but at the end of the day, a week is a good week with NFL football being played. So it is your boy Matt Talk Sports. The Bills are back in the win column. I am happy. My week is made. Hopefully your team won this week. If not, you always have next week.